Welcome to Form 1 Mathematics DLP, Chapter 2, Factors and Multiples, 2.1, Factors, Prime Factors, and Highest Common Factors. Alright, in this part of the lesson, we'll learn how to determine the common factors of whole numbers, explain the common factors of whole numbers, as well as to determine the highest common factor of the 2 and 3 whole numbers. Okay, shall we begin? Alright, do you still remember what are factors? So if you remember that from the exercise we did previously for factors of 24, we have 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 12 and 24 as our factors. Okay, so from here we are going to learn what are common factors. Okay, as always, we are going to do a simple activity to know more about common factors. Okay, so there is a table here with three numbers, which are 24, 54 and 60. So all the numbers here are already listed out those factors. So for 24, the factors will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24. For number 54, we got 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18, 27 and 54. And then for 60, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30 and 60. So all of them are factors for the respective number. Now if you notice, they are repeating number, okay, the same number throughout all those numbers. So if you see those numbers, I'm going to circle them now. Okay, so this number that I already circled, do you know that we know as common factor for the number 24, 54 and 60. So when we say common factor, we usually have more than one numbers, right? So if it's a factor of a prime factor, usually referring to one number. Now if it says common factors, usually the factors, the same factors among two or more numbers. Okay, let's see example number 1. We're going to determine whether 6 is a common factor of 24 and 36. Now the first thing that you need to do is we need to list out the factor for 24. Okay, factors of 24. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, what else? 4, yes, 6, 18, okay, and then 12, sorry, it should be 12, eight, 12 and 24. Okay, so these are the factor for 24. Okay, so the next one that we want to see is we're going to list out the factors of 36. So from the factors of 36, we're going to see is 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, 6. Alright, there's 2, 6. Remember, we only need to list one, which is 6. Okay, and then 9, 12, 18, and then 36. So these are the factors. So we want to check, is 6 amongst the list of factors? Okay, so 6 are present in both of them. Okay, so this is one way. So I can say yes, 6 is a common factor of 24. Okay, another way is, we're going to see the second example, which is we want to know whether 4 is the common factor of 30, 40 and 60. So remember, when we say factor, we can check by dividing with number 4. So I'm going to do the first number, which is 30, divide by 4. Okay, you get 7.5. Now if you remember previously, I already mentioned any decimal numbers are not the factor of that number, right? So definitely we got one no here. Yeah, we got one no. I'm going to put a small no. Let's use light green. I'm going to check another number, that is 40 divided with 4. So if 40 divided 4, we get 10. Alright, so we know that 4 is the factor for 40. I'm going to use light green and indicate yes here. And then 60 divided with 4. Alright, and then you get 15. So this is a whole number. So 4 is the factor for 60. Now if you see here, there is one no, a yes and a yes. Alright, so if there is one no present in what we are checking for factor, thus I'm gonna write here that 4 is not the common factor of 30, 40 and 60. Okay, so we got two methods. Either number one, you list out all the factors. Number two is dividing the factor that we want to check with the number in the list. Alright, so we got one no. As long as there is one no, then it is not the common factor. Right. Second example asks us to list all the common factor of 20, 44, 56 and 64. So number one, like always, we are going to list the factor first. So I'm going to list out the factor of 20. So we got 1, 2, I don't think 3 should be in, the next number should be 5. 4, 5, 10, 20. Alright, and then factors of 44, so we got 1. You can always do this one first. 1 multiply with 44, you get 44. 2 multiply with 22, you're going to get 44. And then you can list them out like this. Alright, so if you are already familiar how to list out the factor, you can always straight come to this one. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 4, okay, 11, 22 and 44. So those are the factors for 44. The next factor that we want to list out is 56. We always get 1. This is an even number, so confirm. We got 2. Alright, 4, 7, we got 8, we got 14, 28 and 56. Okay, so the last one that we need to list is 64. So 1, 2, okay, let me write that again, 4, 8, 16, 32, and 64, right? So if it's a common factor, we are going to find the numbers that are in all the numbers here. So I can see that we got 1, okay, and then we got 2, and all of them have 4. If we check 5 only for 20, no 10, no 20, and then all the other numbers are all their own. So the common factor here common factors of 20, 44, 56, and 64 are 1, 2, 4. So these three numbers, if I divide with all of them, we will be able to get a whole number. Okay, and we won't be getting decimal numbers. Okay. So those are common factors. And then we come to highest common factor. So means that amongst the common factor, we want to find the largest number amongst them. Okay, let's look back at the example that we saw earlier, and the one that I've circled will be the common factors. So when I list out the common factor, which is 1, 2, 3, and 6, okay, those are the common factors. And amongst those numbers, 6 is the highest or the largest common factor in the list. So 6 is known as highest common factors. Right? Let's look at an example. Highest common factor can be determined with a various of methods, which are listing the common factors, which we already done, and then repeated division. The last one is prime factorization. So all of this actually already see in other factors, which is the prime factor, the factors, and now common factor. So let's look at an example of how to list the common factor to determine the highest common factors. Alright, so we have an example here. So when they say using common factor, so number one, we need to list out the factors of the number. Okay, so in this example, we have two numbers, which is 18 and 24. So for 18, the factors are 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 18. And then for the 24 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. And then our common factor will be 1, 2, and 3. And then amongst the three common factors, the highest common factor, which is the largest number of all, that is, alright, we got another one, 6, which is 6, right? So the highest common factors will be 6 for 18 and 24. Okay, that one is for listing the common factors. The second one is by using repeated division. Okay, we've seen this one in prime factor, right? So I'm going to put all the numbers, which are 36, 60, and 72, into this reverse division, divide. And then both we're going to do from the smallest number, which is 2. Okay, so 2, so I'm going to divide 36, 60 and 72 with number 2. So when 36 divide with 2, we get 18, 60 divide with 2, we get 30, and then 72 divide with 2, we get 36. Okay, those numbers can still be divided again. So I cannot use 2 because 30 and 36, I can use 2. Okay, so when I divide 18 with 2, I get 9, 30 with 2, I get 15, 36 with 2, I get 18. Alright, 9 can still be divided, as well as 15, as well as 18. All of them can be divided with number 3. So when I divide those with number 3, I get 3, 5 and 6 respectively. Okay, now if you see 3, 5 and 6, I cannot continue to divide them with using a single number, because 5 I cannot divide with 3, and then 6 I cannot divide with 5. So I'm going to stop here. Alright, and then our highest common factor will be those numbers at the side. Okay, so highest common factor, remember the first stroke of letter H. When we draw H, it will be like this. Okay, so the first stroke of letter H is the down stroke. So you remember that it is this one. So the numbers are 2, 2 and 3. We're going to multiply those numbers and we get 12. Right, so the highest common factor for 36, 60 and 72 is 12. Alright, let's move on to the next example. Okay, the next example will be how to use prime factorization. Now remember, prime factorization means we are going to involve prime number. Okay, you can use the 3 factorization, or you can use the repeated again. Alright, so I'm going to list them out. Okay, you can use 48. When you divide with 2, you get 24, something like this. Okay, you can always refer back and then determine which one is the last one. So I know that 48 will be 2, multiply with 2, multiply with 2, 2 and 3. Right, for 64 will be 2, multiply with 2, alright, so an 80 will be like this. Alright, so I'm going to bring all the common one together. So it will be this, this, and this. Alright, so it's up to here. So for this one, the highest common factor for 48, 64 and 80 will be 2 multiply 2 multiply 2 multiply 2, which equals to 16. Alright, so this is how we are going to find the prime factorization for the common factor. So we've got 3 methods. There are times where the question specify which type of methods, so you must be familiar with all these methods, right? No matter how you don't like them. Alright, so we come to the end of this part of the lesson. So remember to try out these exercises so that you can understand better how to use those methods that we have learned today. Alright, so until then, please stay safe and I'll see you again. Bye bye.